Bubble gut is a common phenomenon in bodybuilding where a combination of extreme food intake, insulin, and growth hormone abuse leads to enlarged organs and weakened abdominal muscles, creating a bloated look rather than a tight, lean midsection. From well-known bodybuilders exposing their hormone abuse in public,
talking about in my previous videos about how heavily Phil Heath was breathing during the comparison round of the Olympia. And this is why I think that Phil Heath really lost the Olympia, is in between poses, it looked like he was breathing through his stomach, and I think that really worked to be a disadvantage for Phil.
to athletes refusing to acknowledge that size really isn't everything. Here are the biggest bubble guts ever caught on stage. Phil Heath. Phil Heath has to be one of the most gifted bodybuilders of all time. Known as The Gift, he is a 7-time Mr. Olympia winner, having won the competition every year from 2011 to 2017. But while his other muscles remained shredded, his gut told a different story. To many, he seems like the definition of the perfect athlete. But he too fell prey to the infamous bubble gut. Early in his Olympia run, Heath was praised for blending mass with beauty. But as the years went on, his physique grew thicker, fuller, and heavier. In this video, you can see his belly is protruding out in a pretty unnatural way the minute he stops posing and holding his breath. To compare, you can see the rest of his competitors completely retain the shape and muscles of their belly, while Phil is visibly struggling to do so.
Phil seemed to be more and more winded, and as he was doing that, he relaxed his gut heavily to the point where almost everybody was looking at him. Rolly, Sean, and Bonac, because he was breathing so heavily, and it was apparent that he was almost breathing through his stomach and relaxing his stomach extremely between those poses.
The same thing happens here while he's posing for the 2010 Mr. Olympia contest.
Let's spread.
On stage, Heath often tried to control the issue by crunching forward, tightening his abs aggressively, or adjusting his posing. Sometimes it worked. Other times, it was impossible to ignore.
And in which version of Phil would we see? There's been times where he's trying to play the size game to some extent. Then there's been times where he's gone all in on conditioning. He and his trainer, Hani Rambod, they're very smart. They're very good at what they do.
In interviews, podcasts, and social media posts, he fired back at fans and critics, arguing that the bubble gut narrative was exaggerated, misunderstood, or simply disrespectful.
This is very much a business trip for Phil Heath. He knows what's at stake. He knows there's plenty of people that would like to see him go down. When you get to the top, those are the realities. And he is here. He has done the work. I caught up with him the other night. He has laser focus.
But the damage was already done, and evident, by the time he lost the 2018 Mr. Olympia finals. Up next is another athlete who pushed his hormone abuse a little too far, Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman was a force of nature. He was big and strong to a level that still doesn't make sense. But despite all his accomplishments, his bubble gut was too much to ignore. Judges rewarded size and conditioning above all else, and Ronnie delivered both like no other. But this level of mass didn't come without consequences. By the mid-2000s, fans began noticing changes. Ronnie's waist thickened, his midsection became harder to control, and the early signs of abdominal distension were very much there. In this video alone, you can see that the minute Ronnie lets go of his pose, his guts come spilling out. Ronnie absolutely dominated the 2000 Mr. Olympia, but you can see that the unnaturally distended abdomen that's kind of making him look like he's pregnant, and that's not a look you want when you're up on stage. Despite everything, though, including the pain, the surgeries, and the permanent damage to his muscles, Coleman repeatedly stated he had no regrets.
All day's work of working out, working 8 hours, I get a chance to come home and do the treadmill.
He openly admitted he trained too heavily, too often, and too recklessly, but believed it was the price of greatness. And so did the next bodybuilder in the list, Kai Greene. Kai Greene is a bodybuilder like no other. His posing is nothing short of art with his intense routines and unpredictable presence. But that bubble gut is a little too hard to ignore. Greene became one of the most recognizable figures in bodybuilding history without ever winning a Mr. Olympia title.
Desperately seemed to want to win this competition. What do you think, Larry, as you're seeing him on stage for the first time?
He looks good. I would like to see him progress through the bat pose.
While Kai was often praised for his conditioning and detail, critics consistently pointed out one recurring flaw: his waist and midsection control.
As we've seen him in the past. Not quite the same level of detail. And I wonder if they've tried to come in a little too big.
At times, Kai displayed one of the most beautiful vacuum poses on stage, tight, controlled, and old school. At other times, especially in relaxed poses, his abdomen appeared distended and uneven, like right here. But this clip from the IFBB Pro competition in 2013 really solidified the fact that Kai Greene was dealing with a bubble gut. While fans were hoping for him to get back in shape, Kai shocked the world by not choosing to compete in Mr. Olympia 2015 and offered absolutely no explanation as to why he didn't. The answer remains unknown, but to this day, people speculate that it was because he couldn't rely on posing to hide his bubble gut anymore. But next up is a bodybuilder who didn't even bother to hide it: Big Lenny. Big Lenny became an internet legend through his association with Iron Mag Labs and the Miami bodybuilding scene, not only because of his physique, but also because of his obviously protruding midsection. The longer you watched him, the more obvious it became that something was wrong.
One step forward and do a pose for us. First, number 81, Leonard
His bubble gut had always been a problem, right from the start of his career. And it wasn't even like he was trying to hide it, because Lenny was honest about his years of heavy steroid use and experimental techniques to look more buff.
So what do you think of that Fat Lenny remix, Lenny?
Hey, very creative, but I did it, and I'm going to get paid. All right, you know, I'm not going to be used. What do you think, you're using me? You're going to use me? I don't think so, pal. See how the abs are coming in, folks, at 340? 340, they're coming in.
Big Lenny became one of the most extreme real-world examples of what fans casually called bubble gut. Abdominal distension so severe, it looked painful.
You know, there's something on the internet that says Lenny the most aesthetic bodybuilder since Arnold. Look at that. I like the one where it says Lenny looks like a giant cockroach. I can eat fucking shit and not get sick. How's that? I can eat hepatitis-laced fecal matter.
However, for some reason, he remained a fan favorite till the very end of his career. Maybe because, for a change, people liked watching someone who wasn't pretending to be something he wasn't. Sadly, Big Lenny passed away in September 2023 after years of severe health complications linked to long-term steroid abuse, organ stress, and mental health struggles. Not many athletes realize the consequences of a bubble gut, but this next one did. Markus Rühl. Markus Rühl, a powerlifter and bodybuilder from Germany, was the human version of a wrecking ball, with a level of raw mass and density that looked almost alien. But his physique was a stark contrast to his much weaker-feeling abdomen. His waist was wide, his midsection often distended. His structure lacked flow. Where other champions chased balance, Rühl chased maximum size, knowing full well it would cost him placings. While fans often associate bubble gut with later champions, Markus Rühl was one of the earliest and most obvious examples of abdominal distension caused by extreme mass pursuit.
Hold on a second. I want to see that again. One more time. That was tight. Hit it.
On stage, his abs were often visible, but his stomach protruded outward, especially in relaxed poses. Judges rewarded his size back then, but the aesthetic cost was impossible to ignore. In later interviews, he spoke candidly about the toll bodybuilding took on his body, emphasizing that chasing extreme size was never sustainable, and it showed. The next athlete in the list clearly didn't care, though. Nick Walker. Nick Walker, known as the Mutant, rose in the world of bodybuilding at a terrifying speed. His thick, dense physique almost looked like it was carved out of stone. If you didn't look at his midsection, of course. But if you pay attention here, you'll see that from the front, his chest and arms looked inflated beyond normal proportions. From the back, his thickness was overwhelming, and from the waist down, his guts looked like they were going to spill out. And you can see that happening the minute he relaxes his pose.
Abdominals and thighs.
Like many modern mass monsters, Nick Walker couldn't escape scrutiny over his midsection control. The abs were there, the conditioning was sharp, but the aesthetic taper that once defined bodybuilding's ideal was fading.
This was filmed during the Olympia Battles video. And Nick looks crazy here. Look, there's no denying that Nick is probably one of the biggest freaks we've ever seen in bodybuilding. Hands down, insane physique. And you see that here. But what you also see in this video, and what has also been a huge topic of conversation with Nick, has been his midsection. It seems like it's gotten bigger. Tyler Mannion, the head judge, even said after the New York Pro, he felt like Nick's midsection got bigger.
And now we have the man who practically invented the bubble gut, or gave it a name at least. Dave Palumbo, a bodybuilder known for his massive size and dedication to heavy training. Palumbo was one of the first to recognize how bodybuilding's shift towards mass monster physiques, but he went a little too far with it.
He says he got into bodybuilding to look good at the beach. I think he took it a little bit too far. This guy is a monster, 258 pounds. For a contest of this size, he needs to be on a pro stage.
We asked him about his appearance in the movie Batman Forever.
Probably about 8 months ago, I got a little stint filming in the new Batman Forever movie. And I was in one of the hoodlums in Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Faced gang, and we get to go around beating up people and the like. I guess perfect part for me, right?
The term Palumboism came to be as a way to describe a specific, unique body type that Palumbo himself had developed, a super lean, heavily muscled physique with a slightly distended stomach, which is the exact definition of a bubble gut.
Taper down the waist, build up the calves, he'll be right on cue.
Dave Palumbo, one of our top heavyweights. And happy with his performance tonight here in Washington.
While Palumbo never had a bubble gut in the way many modern bodybuilders do, his unique midsection was noticeable enough to raise some serious concerns. Just look at this video here, where it's quite evident that Dave's guts are protruding out more than they should be.
In great shape, very nice and lean. The last couple years, he hasn't placed probably where he wants to place, but he's smart, he's patient, he listened to the judges, and this year, he's improved his physique and tapered it down and improved his symmetry.
But back then, Dave didn't really have to pretend that his physique was natural and embrace the reality of what it took to get to the level that he was at. However, Palumbo clearly didn't see any issue with the way his body looked, and he maintained this physique till the very end of his career. But his story is a cautionary tale about what extreme bodybuilding can do to the human body and the high price athletes pay for chasing size without concern for balance. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.